All right, hello everyone. So, yeah, I don't normally have a stream scheduled on Monday nights, but I was playing Factorio, and I figured I might as well do like a chill stream of that. Um, so yeah, don't want to do a particularly long intro this time. Let's just get into it. So, welcome to Factorio. Usually when I'm making production lines, I prefer to design them out here in the map editor, because then I don't have to worry about like having all the resources I need right then and running around trying to get everything. Plus I can verify how everything works at full capacity without having to worry about, like, you know, filling it with a bunch of actual resources. So right now, like I mentioned, I think I mentioned it on Mastodon, I am just making a Yellow Science production line. These are the utility science packs. I need them because, honestly, the biters have started to get a little bit annoying. And I want to get mortars. I want to get the, what are they called? The long-range ones. Yeah, the artillery cannons. There we go. And I mean, I'm going to use the research for other stuff, but that's the main thing I want to get research for. So yeah, at the moment, I am just sort of bodging together this production block. The idea is, at least the way I'm trying to make this line work, is you can sort of copy-paste these, ideally just going out like this, so you can put another one here, and then on and on and on, and then also to be able to, you know, flip it vertically and do it like this. But that's for another time. At the moment, so this I worked it out in Hellmod. Should give us about 30 utility science a minute. So like one every 2 seconds, which is fine for me. I don't need a whole lot, and as my needs increase, I can always just build more of these. But yeah, I hope everyone in chat's having a good evening. I don't expect this to be the most exciting stream. I'm just gonna chill and play Factorio. If you have any suggestions, feel free to put them in the chat. I promise I'll read them, but I can't promise I'll listen to them. Actually... Also, the ability to just instantly sort of move things around a little bit is very useful. Let's see, if we want the bus to sort of run at the bottom there, probably best to put it there so the pipes will have clearance. Let's put that there. Make sure that line keeps going. So basically, the idea is this block right here, I already have running separately up here. Just builds the flying robot frames, which are used in the utility science. Let me put the crafting recipe up. I wonder if I can put this Hellmod image up on stream. I don't know if there's room for it. No, I can, at the very least, I can put the first line up on. Let me... Here. So, just to give everyone an indication, and add an image. Here's what we can do. Crop it. We're only seeing the output here. And put that. Oh, I should have put the dinosaur on the layer that's more in front. Oh well, for now we'll have to hide her. Yeah, this is sort of what we're making right now. So to make this, we're planning on making 30 per minute with this production block. The processing units we're already making elsewhere in the factory, so we just need to ship those in. But right now, this is the production line that should make the 10 flying robot frames per minute. And I ran a test. It makes about 11 per minute. Which, you know, still fine. Having a little bit extra is never hurts. And then the nice thing about this, I made this so that you can just paste it down separately if you want to have just a flying robot frame line. Which is going to be important because we need flying robot frames to make like logistics robots and such. And I want to get those automated because I've just made a whole bunch manually. I don't want to have to do that all the time. So the flying robot frame, you'll notice this is basically the same design. I've just sort of moved it over here and moved the output line a little bit. And the pipe inputs. Let me see. What else I want to do here? So the idea is it's best to make sure that your production lines can just be like tessellated out as much as you need, you know. So in this case, let's actually put that there, and then put a pipe there, linking it up to that. And that just saves us one space on that end. We can actually move this one closer. So the ideal is to make these as small as possible, because the more compact the production line is, the easier it is to fit a bunch of them side by side. Actually, probably make it even more compact if we just move this line so that it runs like this. Everything else should fit just fine. So we just cut this out. And paste it there. Get rid of that. Put it out and paste it there. That's just enough room. It probably would have been better for me to work out the power as I fit these together. Because right now the power, the substation layout's a little bit of a mess, but yeah, it's okay. We can optimize this design later, definitely. But right now I'm just kind of trying to get a design up and running that I can paste once or twice and have a nice basic research production line. So the idea is I have, these are sort of the inputs to the production line. So we have, zoom time a little bit, you can see, we have copper, iron, circuits, steel, and sulfur. We will also need to add blue circuits to that production line. These are processing units, they're slightly more advanced. So this, I believe, should be our whole, the whole production line. I can verify that real quick. But we will need plastic coming in for this. So let's also bring that in. Probably be easier if we bring the plastic in here and then have the blue circuits in the other one. Now if we resume that, clear out those residual blue circuits. Then, yeah, I should just be able to link up this whole line. Let me give it a little bit more room because getting stuff out of a bus like this can be difficult sometimes. So the entire copper load on our factory currently, this whole production block will take in the biggest thing it takes in the most of copper, which is, it takes about 620 a minute, which is about, what is that, 10 per second? One of these belts can take 30 per second, so we can power like 2 point something of these lines with that. I am happy with that for the time being, but it might be good to have some room for expansion. Nothing else is taken in nearly the quantities as it takes copper. So we can just copy that over and have double copper coming in. And that'll give us just a little bit more room for expansion. So the idea is you take these resources, and this is what's called like a bus system. So you have all of your resources on this one big production line, and then you sort of branch off the different resources as you need them. Okay, so let's see how well I remember the inputs to this. Actually, they are just up here. So this takes, we need to bring copper here, iron here, circuits here, steel here, and sulfur here. So if we just run for a little bit so we remember which of our production lines are where. The easiest thing to do is to just branch off copper right there. We branch off iron a little bit forward. So actually, just because of the space requirements, we'll want to do this back here. And then we want to leave some space to move the other items. We put that there. There we go. Just trying to make things as compact as possible. And then we branch off the iron here. So copper, iron, circuits, steel, and sulfur. And branch the circuits off here. We might need a little bit more space for this. But what we can do is just move these out a little bit. Right, and then that's our circuits that we're bringing out here. Think about this for a moment. So we want the other line to go over here. Oh, there's still space to branch it off. Okay, that's perfect. And then we bring that one out as well. Just enough room to branch off the last line, which is sulfur. Right, so that's just sort of everything's going to branch out from this bus into this production line now. So basically these splitters will divert half of each of these lines into the production line. And then the other half goes along the belt. Or if the production line doesn't use the whole half, everything that's not used by the production line goes on the belt. And then this line, let me remember what goes into... So this line is producing this low density structure here. Oh, you know what? I should have my cursor visible for this. Capture cursor. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you should be able to see this now. So this low density structure is what this line's producing. To make it, we need copper, steel, and plastic. My plan is to have copper on these outer two lines. That theoretically makes it more expandable, although I would have to... At the moment, there's not a whole lot of use to expanding it out. I would have to take this and move it upward. But just for extensibility, if later I want to make a line of just this and just cut this part out, I would want to be able to put copper on these individual lines. Because the vast majority of our copper usage is this specific low-density structure machine. So we are going to branch off... here, actually, let's move it back a little bit. We are going to branch off copper here. we need to branch off steel and plastic and combine them here. So the steel comes from this line. Do I have... remember the button for this. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Highlight belts H. Okay, so this would be, for some reason it doesn't want to highlight. I guess it's because I'm in the editor right now. Oh well. But yeah, steel is this line, so we are going to need to break off these other lines real quick. How many lines do we have? 3. So we just got to break off these 3 lines. Then we will split the steel off here. Probably the easiest thing to do... that actually... yeah, that should be fine. We branch off the plastic here. And that will go and combine with the steel. So the easiest way to do this is if we do that, then the plastic will only go in on the left side. Although actually it would be easier to bring the plastic in on the right side. So here, we bring this up here. Plastic comes in on this side, steel comes in on that side. This particular design, it doesn't matter which side which resource is on, as long as each resource only comes in on one side. And then we need to bring in more copper. I would like to... Let's have them evenly drawing from each side of the belt. I think that makes the most sense here. So this line will continue going here. Easiest way to do this. Actually, let's make this one forward a little bit. Bring that line there. We can split this off here. And that is copper split off from the other line. Now, like I said, this machine is the vast majority of our copper. This takes a small amount of copper, but it's very little. This, the flying robot frame section takes 20 copper per minute, whereas this section takes 600 copper per minute. So I don't consider this to be like significant enough to worry about balancing that. If we need to, we can make the next iteration. We can make the next iteration of the machine pull from this line instead of this line. But that's not super important because we're not quite filling up each belt. So yeah, as long as these are pulling evenly from both belts, it'll be roughly even. And then one last thing we need to do is bring in... let's see if we have enough reach to do it this way. No, we do not. We're going to get blue circuits coming in here. And I am not too worried about my underground belt usage. I have a pretty efficient production line going for these undergrounds and such. So if we just do that, put a splitter there, and then we bring that line up there. And then we have blue circuits coming in here. I suppose the easiest way to get these out of here... yeah, we can just use long-handed inserters here because these factories don't produce it that much. So each of these inserters can only grab from the belt right next to it. But there are also these long-handed inserters that grab from the belts 2 away. So here. So this inserter will take the item from here and put it onto this belt. And then I don't actually need that there because it doesn't matter that it's one-sided anymore. And these inserters will grab the items from the belt closest. And to be clear, this belt right here comes in with blue circuits. So blue circuits coming up here. This side of this line is flying robot frames. And then this side of this line is the low density structure. So you get low density structure, flying robot frames, and blue circuits coming in here. They all get combined and turned into utility science packs, which get sent out through this line. Notably, they will only be on the outer side of this line. This side will be empty. This side will have the item on it. But for our purposes, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. We can just bring this down conveniently because we're already putting a bunch of these here. We can just move those out by one. Put one there. And we can just bring that out that way. So this will be our sort of production block. Let me just run the pipes through so we can properly tessellate it. And that goes there, goes there. And let's see, so we will want to have this going here. And that coming out there. And now we can just take this whole thing, if we wanted to copy it, and paste it right there, and just continue it on. Because of this stuff here, we'd have to trim off some of that, but that's not really important. So yeah, that is sort of a tessellatable design. The next step is to test it. Let me really quickly get out one of these. These, by the way, are loaders. They're sort of debug items that you can only get in world editing mode. They're kind of like inserters, except they load on both sides of the belt, and they don't take any power, and they can basically unload as much as the belt can provide. Which is why they're a little bit OP, which is why you can't get them in the real game. But this is sort of simulating what it'll be like once we have, you know, train unloaders filling these belts and this going to the train. Let me real quick turn off these production lines because I want production statistics that aren't affected by these other little factories. So let me just cut those off so those won't run. And then we should be ready to just get this running. And let's test it. Let's see how it works. Oh, well, now it's showing. Okay, I guess it's just, it wasn't showing because time was frozen. Let's just verify and make sure that everything is going through properly. I want to see these having items relatively quickly. These should start working relatively quickly. It'll be a bit of a delay, so let's speed it up. We're missing flying robot frames. Oh yeah, that's right. We never connected the liquid. So here, we can take over here where we have the infinite chests. There are also infinite pipes, so this liquid takes in... This pipe takes in lubricant, the other pipe takes in water. Real quickly careful so that these pipes don't accidentally connect. You don't want pipes to be connected if they're carrying different liquids, just like in real life. Alright. So now, yeah, the chemical plants are starting up, these plants are starting up, and after a short delay, we'll start to see... Yeah, there we go. There we go. Perfect. And there we go. Oh, and let me... real quickly, because I didn't actually put the efficiency modules in these. So, just to clarify the stream title, I'm not doing like an official challenge run, but I'm doing my own sort of little challenge of trying to build a factory that produces as little pollution as possible, and like my general goal is to have a factory where the pollution cloud is dealt with by like the local terrain and trees. And I'll show you that once we get back to the actual factory. But basically the idea is having efficiency modules and everything reduces the pollution by quite a lot. And so it makes us have significantly less production capacity, because like it takes more machines to do the same amount of work because we're not using speed modules or productivity modules, but the environmental impact is much lower. So we have to give it a little bit for the production statistics to fill out, but if we pull up the menu here, let's see, what are we producing? There we go. So we are producing about 31 to 33 per minute, which is looking pretty good, So yeah, that's about the goal we were going for. And let's take a look at what resources we're taking. So, as expected, we're taking about 650. That's a little bit more than 620, but we're also producing a lot more of these. I think the research that we have in the that we have unlocked in this mode is slightly different than the research we have unlocked in our actual map, and that changes because it changes how fast the crafting machines work. It changes the productivity and also the input consumption. But yeah, everything's looking pretty good. And now it's just a matter of taking this blueprint, get rid of that. So we want to take this blueprint, save it, bring it back into our actual map, and set up this bus and get the inputs and outputs sorted. Yeah, in general, you want to see like all of these, at least the end stage machines, chugging along pretty much all the time. That's a sign that your inputs are relatively balanced. Yeah, alright, let's pause this. This is what it looks like in actual real time. So it's not producing a huge amount of this yellow science, but it's producing a decent amount. Now, something I often do with my factories is I have lights on the output to indicate, just sort of provide a visual indication of things being produced. I might work on that later. I don't know if I need that right now. Alright, so we can take this, copy it, and save it as a blueprint. I want to really quick make sure that I have the inputs and outputs written down correctly. Steel, we want sulfur, plastic, and processing units. Right, and then we want to add a descriptive icon. This and utility site. Actually write down some information about how much we're producing. So this produces approximately 30 per minute. Right? We're taking approximately 620 per minute. take... check. I don't know if I have the full... The screenshot I took is missing one of the iron lines, so it's a little bit more than 48. Let's say around 50 for now, and we can correct that later. Electronic circuits, we're taking 50 per minute. Steel, we're taking in 80 per minute. Sulfur, taking in 40 per minute. Plastic, we're taking in 150 per minute. And processing units, we're taking in around 20 per minute. Alright. So this is a relatively small production block. I could probably condense this more. Really what I wanted to have was a production or utility science block that I could also break off the flying robot frame section to use separately. Yeah, I'm thinking I might actually, when I actually build this, I might have two of these flying robot frame blocks, and then output the utility science packs, and also this produces, I believe, 10 flying robot frames a minute. You verify? Yes. Okay, it produces 10 flying robot frames per minute. So having two of those means that we get basically twice as many flying robot frames. Alright, so we save that blueprint. This is my list of production lines. Let's use the same syntax we use in the other ones. So 1C means it's a single cell, basically, so you can tile this in units of cells. A column means it's like a bunch of cells that have already been pre-tiled. Right, so that works. Let's go ahead and switch over to our normal map. Right, and so this was a sort of preliminary test. Let me set up another roboport. So this is my factory. Right now there's not a whole lot going on. Mostly, there's not a whole lot of activity going on at the moment because everything is sort of filled up its buffers. So until I start, bringing in something that's a constant draw on the resources, because all of my other science packs that I have at the moment, I've done all the research, basically. So I produce blue science over here. I produce the other sciences. This is a very old production block here for red and blue sciences, or for red and green sciences, that I am sort of still working with. I wanted to redesign it, but I can do that later. My plan is to build green science over, or sorry, blue science, no, yellow science, utility science packs over here, in sort of this space. As you can see, I've already built the train terminal. This base is train-based, mostly because it's pretty spread out. Like I said, part of what I'm trying to do is be as environmentally friendly as possible with this game. So you'll note that even in like the middle of the factory, right, I have these big forests. And these are really useful because trees absorb a lot of pollution. But also, if you produce too much pollution, it'll destroy the trees. So like you can see that if I go back down here, is this area before I put efficiency modules in, because it was just a big row of miners, it produced a whole lot of pollution. With the efficiency modules, these mining drills produce a lot less pollution. But before then, you can see these trees are Not quite, not all of them are dead, but a lot of them are, like, mostly dead. Look over here. I think most of these trees have already been taken out, but yeah, if you look at the expanded areas of my base, I'm trying to preserve as much forest as I possibly can. But even here, this is a big iron production block. And you can see there's still quite a lot of trees going on here. Yeah, at the moment, we are just... So basically, each one of these stations has its own buffer of whatever it is that it's loading or unloading. Which means that even when, like, there's a spike in production, the buffer kind of smooths that out over time. Because, you know, the issue with train systems is that instead of getting a constant flow of items, you get these, like, spikes and drops. I go back into my history. So my iron buffer has been kind of exhausted for a while because I've been making steel. So here's the iron ore production, right? Because the trains take time to move to and from a location, like you can see these spikes in plate production. So it's big and then it drops down and then it spikes back up and it drops down. That used to be significantly worse. It's hard to zoom back to that time without it being so zoomed out you can't really see. But, like, as you can see right now, for a good, like, hour or two, we can be at full production, even though that's more than our ore yield, without going into this pattern. And that's sort of my goal, is to be able to produce stuff without these spikes. You can see a lot of production dropped off recently, because we were trying to fill up some buffers over here. So once I have that production line, I need to go down here and actually get this processing unit line up and running. But once I do, that'll also be enough of a drain on the system that we'll see this whole circuit block get running. And once this whole circuit block gets running, that takes up a lot of materials, so we'll see a lot more train activity. It'll be a lot riskier to run on the tracks. Because right now, the way that... I'm sort of migrating my base over to a new system for the trains. It used to be that trains had, like, set stations that they went between. It's like there would be a train that went from this ore mine to this specific iron processing area. At the moment, we only have one iron processing area, but the idea is if this gets full, I can build another one somewhere else. Because now the train stations are generic. So instead of just being a, like, I still have a couple of legacy stations on this one. So this one is, like, specifically this station. So that trains can come to this station specifically to get iron plates. But these ones are generic, so this is just iron plate source. So, basically... anytime you have you can have trains that just go to the nearest iron plate source to get filled up and then go to the nearest iron plate sink to drop off what they have. That's what's happening with the ore here as well. So this is an iron ore sink. This train is scheduled to... Actually, it looks like this one is still using legacy stations for the ore mines. Which I guess isn't too much of an issue because the ore mines really only have one train going to them. But basically, it loads ore at this iron mine, and then it just goes to any iron ore sink to drop it off. So that way, as different iron processing facilities get different loads, one fills up, trains don't go to that one anymore. We get all the trains going to the other one. The light system here, you'll see on a lot of sinks. Green means there's a train here, pink means there's a train coming, red means there's no train coming. And we won't see it here for a while because this station is still filling up its buffers, but once everything's filled up here, you'll see these stations turn blue. Blue means the buffer's full and there's no point in a train coming here. So it shuts off the stops when it's full, so no more trains come. But yeah, these trains that are loading iron, they are mostly loading iron because they need to come up here. So you can see these stops are full. The buffers on these two train stops are entirely full. So these are blue, which means that there's no space for trains. Oh, although, looking like there's a bit of an issue here. I will have to examine what's going on here. Because these stations are full, so these should also be blue. So these stops should be blue just like these stops. I think it might just be that I'm not getting the signal coming in correctly. But I'll need to take a look at it, basically. So each of these stops can check how much is in the buffer, and when it's past a certain predefined value, it just closes off the station and sends trains away. The trains are also programmed so that when it gets full, not only does the stop close, but the stop sends the trains that are currently there away. So they go back through the cycle. Incidentally, another consequence of this is that trains don't stop. Trains shouldn't be stopped at these stations just idle, which is why there's something going wrong here. Trains should only be stopped at these refueling stations. So most trains, when there's not a lot of movement going on, will be here, getting refueled. So you'll notice this one, there's nothing that needs sulfur currently active. So this train is just sitting here, waiting. Same thing with these copper ore trains. The copper mine up here, you'll note, is backed up. There is no activity going here, so the sources are closed. The sinks are closed where the ore gets delivered. And so trains just can't come here. So yeah, the general idea is we want trains to be waiting at, like, specific places. So some of the old designs had trains associated with facilities. I think it's better if the trains are just floating and go to facilities when there's demand. Still testing it out. It might be more efficient a different way, but I don't know, I like the implementation here. So this is a copper train? Yes, it is. Oh, okay, I see. So this train is currently running an old schedule. What is going on here? This is taking ore from a specific stop and moving it to... Right, but I don't think that stop exists anymore, does it? Yeah. But I need to quickly reprogram this train so I can show you what happens. So the biggest thing I would need to do is... So that is... Power electronics. That is... Here, isn't it? No. Oh yeah, that's right. That's going over here to the... Yeah. That's where the issue is. Okay, so these need to get changed to use the source sync method. So let me think. The thing about Factorio is there's always like 3 different things to do. I want to stop those trains from moving, because the longer they're moving, the more fuel they consume. And also, do trains produce pollution in Factorio? I don't think trains produce pollution in Factorio, but they might. And in any case, it's better just to not... it's better to avoid trains running if you can, because they do also just produce a bunch of traffic, and you don't want a bunch of traffic on your railroads. Here, I'm going to set up a couple of roboports. These are basically devices that allow your construction robots to build stuff. And this is much easier to work with than trying to build everything by hand, of course. So, basically, I could... That's not the one. Go into production lines, go to this production line, and just plop this down, like, right here. Actually, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So let me real quick, just as a demonstration, this little prototype thing, I'm going to tell the robots to destroy it. And you'll see... Let me load some robots into here. We need to get power over to these roboports, so let me do that real quick. And do that. Oh, and we need a logistics storage chest because they need to be able to take all that stuff somewhere. Put that there, and now everyone takes all the stuff that was... Puts it where it goes. Now you'll note I also have some logistics robots just in me. That's a personal roboport. It makes some like smaller scale prototyping and stuff a lot easier, because if you don't want to go through the effort of building this whole like set of roboports and loading them with robots and putting all your stuff in these boxes, it can be much easier to just plop down, to just have your personal robots move it from your inventory directly. But at the moment, what I'm going to do is load up all of these supplies. So this is just a bunch of building components that I'm going to need. I'm going to grab all of these and drop them into the chests so that the logistics robots have something to build with. I don't think this is going to be all they need. They will complain and tell me what they don't have. So it's not too much of an issue. I want to have a few things on hand. Just in case. I don't think I will need anything to fix that train system, but just in case I do, it's best to have some components just on hand. I'm gonna grab a stack of those, and so we're gonna need to have some space down here to sort of consolidate all the stuff coming from the trains, make sure that all the production lines are right. I am comfortable just eyeballing it. So we can just grab this production line, and that should be enough space. We can grab this production line and smack it down over here. What I'm trying to do, like I said, is avoid as many trees as possible. Sometimes that's not possible. Like, I don't think I'll be able to... I could put this here, but I feel like it would... I could definitely tile it at least 2. So let's actually put this here. And now the logistics robots will just go swarm up there and put everything down that needs to go down. It's complaining about not having lights and long-handed inserters. I can provide those for it. I don't have a lot of long-handed inserters, actually. Let me craft some, just to get them in the crafting queue so that the next time I'm up here, I will have plenty of them. And then, yeah, let's just go down to that power electronics area. So the quickest way to do that in this base is to just grab a train, grab some fuel, fuel up the train, and go tell it where to go. So we want to out this area. So where do I want to park? Probably the easiest place to park is just right down here. I'll have to turn the train around manually, but that's fine. So yeah, enjoy these scenic views of the factory while the train's moving. See, this factory was, you know, built up over a lot of time, so there's a lot of empty space where I've taken out certain production lines or moved things. Oh, I have some stuff in here. I want to keep those rails in the inventory. Let me do that. Anything in those slots, the trash slots, whenever you're in range of logistic robots, they will take those from you. So yeah, they'll just grab them out of your inventory, which is convenient, but sometimes I just use that for a little bit of extra storage space. And in that case, you don't want them coming to grab it, so once you have that room, you need to go fix it, basically. And they are complaining about missing a lot of belts and long-handed inserters. So let me make sure I do have enough long-handed inserters, so that'll be fine. The big thing is going to be belts, which I can also stick in there. Okay, so yeah, the biggest things we're going to want to look at, these trains now need to use the source sync model. If I can find a copper plate train, that would be actually more convenient. the first thing to know is that the trains I was using needed to be double-headed so that they could basically go into and then back out of a place. These ones do not need to be double-headed because everything that uses the source sync model uses stations that you don't need to be two-headed to get out of. So basically, a train being two-headed means that it can go in both directions. So it can stop and back up, which is necessary with some station designs. So if you take a look at here, these stations you have to be a two-headed train to get out of, because you can get in here, but then you can't move forward. So you have to be able to back up and out into the branch line there. But all of these stations that are using the source sync system, or all of the four-headed train, or all of the four cargo wagon trains that are using the source sync system, I have made sure that all of the stations, you can go in and then just keep moving forward to go out. Let me see. The challenge is figuring out where the copper trains have parked. Actually, yeah, that platform I need to make dual-headed before we can just make it a sync. Let's see. So I guess we'll just have to plug it in manually. It's not too complicated. So the first thing we need to do is go to copper plate source. We wait until full cargo or circuit condition. I believe that is X is greater than 0. Basically, when a source station is empty, so a source station should only allow trains in when it has materials to give to them, like enough to fill up the train all the way. But if for whatever reason something goes wrong and it doesn't, it asserts the X condition to say, like, basically we don't have anything else to give you. Let's see, and then it needs to go to a 6-car engine refuel. We wait for 2 seconds of inactivity. Basically, 2 seconds inactivity means that nothing is loading or unloading from the train. And saying just wait for 2 seconds of inactivity means wait until nothing's being loaded into or unloaded from the train. So that means, like, that means that the refueling is done, basically, because it's not putting any more fuel in the train. So that must mean it's full. Then we want to put that in twice, actually. Because basically it goes there to wait, so we want it to go there even, like, we want it to go there after it goes to the source and after it goes to the sink. So we can, if there's no sink available, it waits. It waits at one of these stations. It waits at the engine refuel. If there's no source available, it also waits at the engine refuel. Alright, what I want to do, copper plate. Oh, we don't actually have any of these programmed as sinks. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. This station isn't yet set up to work as a sink in the sink system because it doesn't have a buffer. So I would have to totally redesign these stations to make them compatible. But I can do a sort of stopgap measure and have these have it go to this station. And the circuit condition for this is green equals 1 because it's being calculated. So this is a sort of earlier version of this system. Like I said, it's gone through a few iterations as I built up this base, make it more efficient. So that should work. So it'll go to a copper plate source until it has a full cargo inventory, then it'll come back to this station. So the trains will wait at this station. But for the moment, that's acceptable. It also means that only these 2 trains will serve the station. Other trains that are going to copper plate sink won't. So eventually I do want to retrofit this station to use the new system, but that's not necessary at the moment. So if I shift right click on this train and then shift left click on this train, it'll copy over the configuration. And then we can just send them on their merry way. So yeah, so that train will go and get... actually, is this train full? Hold on. Hey, you get back here. Get back here. This train, I believe, is already full, so we can just send it back here. There's not a lot of, like, turnarounds in this base, because there's not really a need for them at the moment. But it does mean that if I need to change a train's association mid-flight, it takes a while to turn around and come back. Yeah, I believe this one's already full of copper ore. Yeah, that looks about right. So yeah, the other train is programmed. So this version of the station, basically there are 2 trains assigned to each resource, and only one of them can be out of the station at the time. The second one can't come back to the station until the first one has left. Oh, hello? Oh wait, this needs to be green equals 1, doesn't it? Let me verify. This is if... So if a train is coming in here, then A equals 0. Let's see, I believe actually there should be a slightly more complex condition. You'll have to bear with me for just a moment. So this should be equals 1 and empty cargo inventory. I believe that is what we wanted. That is what we want for this particular iteration of the system. This one is probably going to do the same thing. Or no. And empty cargo inventory. There we go. So that'll feed back in here. This whole production line is, it makes little power poles. So all these power lines you see, they get produced over here. I do need to connect a train stop here that's just for unloading the finished power poles. I don't have that done yet. That is something I should do. Basically, I have a construction train. You can see it parked up here right now, that I load full of various materials that are needed for construction. So that way I can just cart the construction train around to a new place when I need it. And the idea is I want to have... So I'll need some landfill for this, but I want to be able to just bring the construction train in here and load in the electric poles. So that way the construction train just, like, can go from different places it needs for different materials. Because the construction train's home is here, which is a place where a bunch of construction materials go. So there's inserters, pipes, inserters, rail signals, conveyor belt splitters and underground belts, and some more inserters, and these are crafting machines, conveyor belts. So a bunch of stuff gets loaded onto the trains here. But not everything yet gets automatically loaded into the train. And that is something I want to fix. One of the big ones is power poles, because I only recently automated those. I only recently built this. Well, relatively recently. I built that before I came up with the new train system. Yeah, so now we take this train back up here. And we can just wait. Now these won't leave until they are empty of cargo. So yeah, the copper production station, it used to be that we had only a copper production station here. And so part of what I was doing with the new system was changing it so that... So this whole area over here used to just be production line. I replaced it so I could scale this way down, so I could fill the area with solar panels instead, so they can generate power. Yeah, our base has pretty significant power requirements. Like, not huge power requirements, but certainly pretty significant. Mostly from the electric furnaces. Right now, we're seeing it at relatively low power because not all the production lines are on. Like you can see at peak, it takes, a lot of power. And that was even, so this was before I put in the efficiency modules. You can see we were taking a huge amount of power. It goes way down, as we put the efficiency modules in. And you can also see there's a pollution. Oh no, that was even afterwards. So that's peak production after the efficiency module. Verify. So our power after the efficiency modules, it's easier to see if we take that out. So this was a significantly smaller base. This is now with everything running. This is how much electricity we use. That's only like peak production. It used to be lower than that. But of course we've had more production. But you'll also notice this was, even with that much smaller power consumption, the pollution was huge. And now, even at that massive peak right there, we aren't producing that much pollution at all. And that is good, because as you can see, this red line here is pollution that is absorbed by damaging trees. And that, the more pollution you produce by that, well, you damage the trees. And trees are important because they are absorbing a big amount of pollution. But if you overwhelm them, they do start getting damaged. So yeah, one of the big reasons I started putting efficiency modules in everything is because I wanted to see if I could make my base run without damaging the trees. So I could still have all these lovely forests in the middle of my production lines. And that has worked out pretty well. So you can see this was my power demand, or this was my pollution consumption earlier, which is why this big nasty spike of pollution absorbed by trees happens. And then this is what it is now, even at peak production. Okay, you'll note that steel furnaces were a big part of that pollution. We've taken out pretty much all the steel furnaces in this base. We replaced them all with electric. So one of the big operations in replacing this, because this used to be all steel furnaces, so this was a big source of pollution. When we moved it, the new copper facility's over here, and it's all electric furnaces with efficiency modules in it. So much less pollution coming from that. You'll also note our walls out here, all the outer walls of the base. You see these are these 2-layer walls. That is a big part of that is to make it so that the flamethrowers can hit the biters without the biters being able to hit the flamethrowers back. Or the spitters are the ones with ranged attacks. But basically, like, I believe they can still hit the flamethrower turrets, but even if we have, actual production going on right here, they can't hit the production line. And that's more important. We can rebuild the flamethrower turrets relatively easy. We have actually a production line. We've had this production line going for a very long time, making flamethrower turrets. I want to replace them with laser turrets eventually, because, as you'll see, I have this big sort of fire break over here between the outer walls and the forest, because I don't want to start forest fires whenever the biters come. Because, eventually I'm going to expand into this area. I want this forest to be here so I can have it. But unfortunately, it seems like even what I had, like the tree line used to be like here, I think, which was slightly outside of the radius, but it wasn't far enough, so we still had a forest fire up here, burning down a lot of forest. So I've been sort of expanding my fire break out a little bit, because apparently that is a little bit too close. But yes, in any case, we are at our destination. So this train line is disconnected right now because all of these are actually configured as sinks, so we don't want those like actually trying to call trains to them, because that'll make a big mess of trains backing up along this area, which will interfere with this copper mine right here. That copper mine needs to get the copper out. You'll notice there's not really any demand for copper right now with the circuit lines not running. So it's just filling up this buffer, see? So each of these stores, what was it? 17,000 it looks like. So each of these stores about 17,000 copper ore. And then trains can come, and that way, even though the production is lower than the full throughput of the trains can still get full throughput for a while to help with spikes. So yeah, the general goal of mine for this base was to make it so that as long as we are not at like maximum, as long as our production of an end product doesn't consume more of a raw material than we have available, we should have relatively smooth lines of production and consumption. That way we don't have those like interruptions and then things sit idle because materials are sort of on the way but not there yet. That's a problem I've been struggling with a lot with this base. I was switching to a mainly train-based system, but then dealing with that intermittent supply. We're in the robot port range. So yeah. You can see our personal robots are also picking up a little bit of the slack as the oh, did we not quite put enough in those boxes? Let me... There we go. Yep, and the logistics robots just charge up at these stations, and you can see the power consumption jumps up notably when they're all active. And they fill in everything they need to fill in. Let me see, these top two are copper. So actually, I think I might sort of mess with the order stations here a little bit. So we need to change this to copper plate. Copper plate sink. And then, what is it? It is copper, copper, iron, circuits, steel, sulfur, plastic processing units, I believe. Of course, I'm going to verify that. So it's copper, copper, iron, circuit, steel, sulfur, plastic. Oh, I was right, I was right. Okay, so this one should be iron. Yeah. So, and the next one should be circuits. I believe we have... So we haven't quite moved all of our systems to the source sync model. So our electric circuits aren't sourced properly just yet. So let me find where that is. So that is electronic circuit loading. Oh wait, no, that's not true. We went to. This should be electronic circuit sync. But this will have to have a dedicated train going to the source and bringing that here. So we've got copper, copper, iron, circuits. What is that? Steel, sulfur, plastic production model. So steel, on the other hand, is... Oh, game air. That's true, Pancake. Steel is properly source sync programmed. So we have that here. That's steel plate sources. So this should be sulfur. And then plastic. What's the full name of that? I want to make sure. Plastic bar. Oh, the factory's going pretty well. I am just hooking up the train line to feed into this big materials bus, which then feeds into the utility science production line. Yeah, you can see at the bottom of the screen, that is what I am working on producing right now. And then this should be processing unit. So I believe processing units are, well, I'm about to make the station, but they are going to be properly source sync made. So for ones that we don't have full, like, they haven't been properly genericized, I should probably have them named just for this station. So because the thing is, making something work with the source sync system needs to be kind of a mix. So you have, like, I can't just rename the stations. I also have to add the circuitry, and I have to add the storage necessary to make that happen. So sulfur, I believe, is also not properly source sync yet. Yeah. So instead of that, we should make that the steel is properly source synced. Circuits are not. And then iron and copper are. Now let's change the colors. I can find another iron plate sync and copy the programming over from that. I don't think that's that. Okay, so this is iron. Do I want dinner? Yes, I could use some cyber nutrients. That's reasonable. I feel similarly. Copper plate sink. I don't. Do we have a plate sink, like a proper copper plate sink anywhere? Doesn't look like it, so we'll have to make that ourselves. But the color for copper plates is 242510. There we go. Sulfur. This is electronic circuits, which we need to grab the color from those. But you don't have to have all the stations be the same color, but you know, it's important. It's important. 0180. If they have the same color, it's easy to tell what train is going to come in at what station, because the trains can also be color-coded. My stream manager is about to become a food manager. Oh no. Steel plate sink. Steel plates are produced up here. The color is 200, 200, 255. Sulfur, that's the right color for sulfur. Plastic bar. I believe that's just pure white. Yeah. So all the ones that are not properly made into the source sink system, we need to make individual trains for each stop. For the ones that are properly put into that system, we don't need to do that. Processing unit sink. Processing unit, I believe, is pure blue. Verify that. Yes, that is true. Let me check the number. Brand deal. No, we can't. We can't! Pancake, we can't be sponsored. That would be a very severe breach of research ethics. Pancake, you can't! No! Oh. I'll tell you what, I'll place these down real quick. And I will take a short break to figure out what we're gonna do for dinner. And then I'll be right back. Alright, so give me one moment. Yeah, and I will see you very soon, viewers. Welcome back to the stream. Right, we figured out what information needs to be consumed. And we're going back to the factory. Alright. Let me quickly get my bearings. Welcome back to twitch.tv/digivent. Today we're going to be doing the Factorio Try Not to Get Destroyed by Biters challenge. Sponsored by nobody, as previously indicated. Okay, let me try and remember the proper counts. Because these production lines need a little bit of supporting circuitry. Let's see, I believe it is the arithmetic combination. Yeah, right there. So basically, I set a high value and a low value, and the station opens, or sorry, the station closes when it hits the high value, so that means it's full. The station can close. And when it's on the, at the low value, that's when the station opens back up again. Just a little bit of circuitry to do that calculation. I can handcraft that real quick. I think I have any in storage. So I can just throw those together. When we're getting multiple trains in for a single product, we only need one of these per item. But since this station only uses one train of each, and lets the buffering take care of the rest, we have to figure that out for each item, for each platform. Let's see, for copper, it's 38,000 and 30,000. Because that's sort of the full and empty, or no, that is copper ore. Copper plates is probably different. Let's see, actually, yeah. Is that true? It looks like it should be twice as much. I'll check with the iron plate, I think, because it should be the same. 38k and 30k. Huh. Verify. I think that might be an incorrect number. Because ore definitely stores only at 2.4, I believe. But you know what? Let me check in ore. It's full. So that's, yeah, 2.4 per chest. And then plates can store 4.8 per chest. So it should actually be twice this value. So 38,000. Guess we can verify the exact number. Let's think. A steel chest has. Here. Let me run down and manually figure out those numbers. So a steel chest full of copper ore has 48 times 50 copper ore times each one of these is 16. There's 16 chests in a platform. Each one can hold 48 stacks of 50. So 38,400 copper is a full chest. I'd say we round that down to just 38,000 for the station. But we double that to 76,800 for copper plates because we can store twice as many copper plates in a stack. The low level is the number we can have in chests minus the number we can have in a train. Yeah, basically it probably would have been easier to just set the high and the threshold values instead of setting the high and low values and calculating the threshold, but live and learn. A train can store 40 in a single train car. There are 4 train cars per train, so that's 40 times 50 times 4 times 2. So 76,800 is a full buffer. 16,000 is a train load. So let's just take that down to 76,500 and 6,500. So those are our sort of thresholds here. So 76,500 for full, 60,800 for empty. We set those with the H signal for high, 76,500, and then the L signal for low, 60,500. And then, don't worry if arrows, some like red arrows show up over here. That just means the biters are attacking. In general, if it doesn't turn into an X, then it's nothing to even, like, think about. I believe we're using E for the threshold value. Yeah. That outputs to B. All of this we're in 4. So those all go to here. It goes down to here. Yeah. Or did we not put... Looks like we're getting signals fed through here. This... Oh, that's not correct. Actually, this is my place. Yeah. So this actually needs to connect to here. There we go. Okay. So if there were... I need to configure this with what is being stored here. So this would be copper plate. There we go. So we need to set those in there. And then basically we want to do the same thing. It'd be easier to just have our logistics robots fill this in because they will fill the wiring in automatically for us. I don't have to use quite as much wiring. Right. Copy this over. And there we go. Right, so this iron platform will have the same thresholds because iron and copper stack up to the same amount. So we just need to hook this into here. Make sure to put it in the right place. That becomes iron plate. That becomes... There we go. This is electronic circuit. I believe electronic circuit stacks up to twice as much as iron does. These numbers will be even higher. To verify that. So, plates stack up to 100. Oh, yep, that's true. Electronic circuits stack up to 200. So we will need to multiply this by 2 again because those are actually the circuit trains Hello, Daichi1457. Welcome to the chat. We're just playing a bit of Factorio right now. I am just setting up the train system. Because doing pretty well. I am just setting up the trains to bring resources up here. This is my utility science production line running. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm also going to put an extra bit of this sort of subline up here that is making flying robot frames, because I don't have those automated either right now. So I think it would be good to have two of those so that I can also output those from this area. I'm already bringing all the resources up. So let me see, where was I? Oh yeah, I was calculating the thresholds for circuits. So basically this train system relies on the station knowing, each station has a buffer, and the train system relies on the station knowing when that buffer is full or empty. So I have to do a quick manual calculation depending on how much is in a single stack. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Daichi. Yeah, I believe so, because these circuit trains only actually yeah, there's only actually 2 cargo cars in those trains. So take those out just to remind myself. And then we can use the same thresholds for iron. Oh no! Yeah, thermal stuff can be rough. I have thankfully never run into anything like that, but yeah. And so the thresholds are the same as iron. We'll swap out those are some of these combinators. Is steel plate, which I believe stacks up the same as it does, so same values, thankfully. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You know if the components on the board are okay, at least? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear it. Unfortunately, I am also kind of broke right now, so I don't really have the money to pay for commissions. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any sulfur, so I have to go check how much that stacks to. Let's see, sulfur stacks to 50, which is the same as the ores stack up. So we will want to use that 38,000 threshold again. easiest way to get back there. Over. Hey, Pancake. Right, let me see. So, 50 of the thresholds are 38,400. I think like 38,000. That should be fine. Figure is here. My threshold is 38,000. The low threshold is at my frame load. $34,000. 34. Yeah, I'll definitely call up Weird Al. I'll write this in the letter and have it airdropped in like a paper airplane above his house. Weird Al feels like someone who uses Signal. That is, certainly not impossible. Let's see. And then, plastic. Plastic is... Plastic stacks up the same as copper, so... Oh, but plastic trains... Huh. Right now, the only sulfur source we have only takes 2 cargo wagon trains. So actually, this should be halved again. Thankfully, we don't need a lot of sulfur, but we're not going to get a lot out of this. So this should be 19K and 15K. Remove those, just a reminder that we don't use those sections. I don't know. We need this. And then plastic, we're also headed trains out of. I believe, I don't think we're going to load up for cargo trains. Yeah, these are only 2 cargo trains. Goes out as well. Sulfur ones need to be halved again to 19K and 15K. Set those thresholds there. And then processing units, I believe, also stack up to 200, don't they? No, they only stack up to 100. Okay. So yeah, those will be the same thresholds as plates then. Let me make sure that I have these set properly. Sulfur, stick. Processing unit. Oh, what happened there? I need to set those properly. Stable, send to train. Need to stop training. Train count. Enable on blue is 0. Green, pink. Enable on blue is 0. Green, pink. Enable on blue is 0. Green. There we go. Okay, and those, let's see, what do we have that isn't using the source sync system? Plastic bar. So we need to do that. More locomotives. Let me grab some engine units. I believe I did just have some engine there. Maybe I don't. I might have just stuck them in my trash slot and maybe I can't do anything about it. That might happen. I'm gonna grab some new ones. Right now, the place where I can get engine units is down here in the blue science production. Okay, let's just getting the train set up. I'm gonna fuel them up. I believe all of the stations that are providing those materials also provide coal. Although actually, some of them don't, but I will make sure that these trains stop at a refueling station first. Which will be fine. Okay, so we need 2 production lines off of the copper and 1 production line off of everything else. Again, we can expand this out into the future, or in the future if we really need to, but I don't think we will. Maybe eventually we will want a lot of utility science capacity, but at the moment we're only using a relatively small proportion of these trains. So then we can run this line up here. Oh, the food's here. Okay. Well, in that case, I will finish this up, get these trains going, and I guess I won't make the departure station just yet. I'll just get these trains going, and I think that'll be a good stopping point. I've set up these stations in the right order, so I should be able to just do this and load them all in. Be fine. Just because that bit doesn't actually draw from this side of the bus, so yep, looks like it's gonna be perfect. Feed these in here. Leave off just a little bit here so we can start bringing the trains in now as we program the trains that are already here. Let's go ahead and send this train back home. Like I said, that's where this train lives, so we send it back. We will need to load some stuff back into it when it's done, but back for now. Now all of the source sync trains, so the steel plate, copper plate, and iron plate trains, should just automatically come into the station once I connect this line. And let's see. Yep, we already have an iron plate train coming. Oh right, we have to build trains to run these routes because we haven't done that before. Okay, let me, so we don't have any other trains running these routes. That's 8, so that should be fine. Oh no, we don't need another train on this side. These are single-headed trains. So there's a train coming in for iron plates, and then a train for steel. If we shift right-click the station, you can copy the color of that station into the train. Okay, and as this train is... Oh, wait, I need to fix the signaling here. Right, because we need rail signals here. There we go. And now the iron plate train should be able to just come over here. There we go. Should also probably put the train signal here. Let's real quickly... Oh, bye? Goodbye? Leaving? Hold on. Something's funky. Oh goodness, what's happening? Something funky is happening here. So this is toggling between blue and pink. So it's showing as... Huh. But for some reason there are 16,000 iron plates that are rapidly toggling in and out of existence. The buffer should be empty. Or no, wait, it's... If iron plate is greater than high, we're outputting this. Blue times B to iron. What is happening here? B is 16k, so it's making those plates come in and out of existence. Okay, so that's going to the input there. Times B. B is also going to the input there. This is feeding back properly. So if iron plates are greater than high, that should never... Oh, this isn't getting the high signal in. That's why. Okay, there we go. That should stop. I truly have no clue what trains were thinking there, but we should be getting a train in soon. Yeah, you have to connect that through so that everyone gets the H and L signals as well as the B signal. So we should be getting iron plates coming in soon. Oh, and there. They're there, and there. There we go. Okay, we should be getting an actual iron plate train coming that's not going to immediately leave. Here's hoping. And there we go. So now that train's going to stay there till it's empty. And let me just... It shouldn't automatically... Yeah, it shouldn't automatically start it going. Actually... I just undo. No. So we don't actually need this. We need to copy this over to this train. The color scheme. And then this needs to go to copper plate source. Copper plate source. Full cargo inventory. Or blue greater than 0. And then copper plate sink. Empty cargo inventory. Or no, that's not right. That should be X. Plate in blue greater. Okay. Good. Now that train should work perfectly fine. Just get some fuel in there. So now there's already another train requested to come in because we're filling up our storage buffer. Oh, it needs power. There we go. Yep, and there's the next iron plate train coming in. Like clockwork. Okay. Yeah, now we just need to stick some fuel in it, and go get some copper plates. And it'll be back around with those copper plates once that is full, and it'll start filling up the copper plate area. This one should be basically the same thing, but with steel. Steel plate source. Fill full cargo inventory or X greater than 0 until it gets kicked out of the station. And then steel plate sink. Has empty cargo inventory or station. Okay. Get fuel in there. Just steal it from the train. Here we go. Go get some steel. Right, so those trains will be getting iron, steel, and copper. This one we have to manually program. Actually, could be doing is this train isn't doing anything. Well, actually, I can just program this train and not have to build one here. So you'll note that because there are multiple iron plate trains, there's always one heading here until the buffer's full. Let me go ahead and program this circuit train. Eventually, I will want to program more copper plate trains to bring the copper plates in. But not quite yet, not quite yet. So we want to circuit loading until full cargo, and on these ones we just have a time delay instead of the station kicking the train out. So that way it'll never spend too long in the train, or in the station. And then we will do a 4-car refuel. And we get 2 seconds for activity. We'll move it to circuit sink until it has empty cargo. And then send it to refuel again. Get 2 seconds of activity. And then we can go ahead and bring that one up here right now. Come park there. Sulfur train. We already have a sulfur train that I believe is waiting. 4-car stations. Yep. And then we can make that with the same programming. We just need to here we go. Until empty cargo out. Put that one to automatic and get some sulfur. Steel, I guess. So since the food is already here and we would need to actually build the station to get the processing units up here, I guess we'll just do that tomorrow. So let me get the plastic train up and running here. So you can see everything is coming into the station, and what is this steel train only have 3 cars? Fix that. Entirely unknowable why that happened. Yeah, as these buffers fill up, these will eventually turn blue. And yeah, I will put in the plastic train, which should probably be just waiting here. Yeah. Copy the programming from that. Just move it to the cargo. Oh. put some plastic. Alright, there we go. So the only step left is to fill up these processing units, and then we can switch that production line on. And I guess I will take care of that next time, but for now, I have to eat dinner, so, save my game real quick. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I had fun just chilling and hanging out. Yeah, I will see everyone later. Good night.